At exactly 12:07 a.m., Donald J. Trump woke up to a buzzing sound. Not from his phone, not from the Secret Service radio, but from a hidden speaker inside the White House walls. "They're watching. They always have been," a deep, distorted voice said before cutting to silence. Sitting up in bed, heart pounding, Trump scanned the dark room, the faint city lights outside doing little to settle his unease. Was it a dream? A trick of the mind? Then, beep, beep, beep. His secure presidential tablet, accessible only to a handful of top officials, was flashing red. Incoming transmission, classified just within his head. Peep, peep, peep. The screen, a single file appeared, labeled Project Silent Hand, and underneath it, a timestamp. First initiated November 22, 1963. The day JFK was assassinated, his gut twisted. He had seen thousands of classified files, but this felt different. His finger hovered over the open button. What was he about to see? The Oval Office was empty as he stood staring at a secure panel near the Resolute desk, one he had never noticed before. Placing his palm against it, as the mysterious file instructed, he waited. Nothing. Then, a hidden door slid open, revealing a narrow passage lined with thick steel walls. The air was cold, sterile, unlike anything in the White House. A chill ran through him. "Mr. President, you were never meant to find this," a voice said behind him. General Ethan Monroe, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, stood at the entrance, his face unreadable. "What the hell is this, General?" Trump asked, squaring his shoulders. Monroe exhaled. "Sir, this is the real government." Trump followed Monroe down the long metallic corridor, mind racing. "Real government," he scoffed. "I was the one in charge, General." Monroe stopped, turned, and met Trump's eyes. "That's what you were told, sir." He pressed a button on a small remote, and the walls lit up, revealing a massive digital display. Dozens of faces, politicians, intelligence officials, global elites, stared back at him, some still in power, others long gone. At the top, a single name stood out. Project Silent Hand, Silent Executive Commander. Unknown. Trump's pulse spiked. "Who the hell is running this?" Monroe didn't blink. "That's the problem, sir. No one knows." Clenching his fists, Trump demanded, "Then why does this exist?" Monroe hesitated before speaking the words that sent a chill through Trump's entire body. "Because every president since Kennedy has been under their control." The ground felt unsteady beneath him. For 4 years he had fought against the deep state, the media, the Washington establishment. But this was something worse. His own face was highlighted in red on the display. To Donald J. Trump, de-executed statement. Monitored. "What the hell does that mean?" he snapped. Monroe sighed. "It means, sir, you were never in control." Trump's fists clenched. "I made my own decisions. I fought every damn day for this country." Monroe looked away. "Sir, do you remember Operation Strike Back?" Trump frowned. "Of course, it was my order. We stopped a terrorist network before they could—" Monroe cut him off. "That order was given before you even saw the intel, sir. You just signed the papers." The world tilted. Stepping back, mind spinning, Trump whispered, "That's impossible." Monroe's face was grim. "No, sir, it's not. They let you make choices, but only ones that didn't threaten them. The moment you stepped out of line, they made sure you were contained." Trump's breathing quickened. "Then why am I still here?" Monroe's face darkened. "Because, sir, you're not supposed to be." The silence was thick, suffocating. Then, bang, 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 gunfire, close. Monroe's eyes widened. "They found us." Trump turned to see figures in black tactical gear storming down the corridor, coming straight for him. Monroe grabbed Trump by the arm. "Move!" Bullets tore through the walls, sparks flying as the corridor erupted in gunfire. Trump sprinted after Monroe, heart pounding. "Who the hell are they?" Monroe's voice was grim. "The ones who clean up mistakes." Trump wasn't supposed to know this, and now they were going to erase him. They turned a corner, an emergency elevator ahead. Monroe smashed the panel, forcing the doors open. "Oh, sir," Trump hesitated. "What about you?" Monroe pulled out his gun. "I'll hold them off. You need to get to the vault." Trump's eyes narrowed. "What's in the vault?" Monroe gave him one last haunted look. "The real evidence, sir. The proof that America has been under someone else's control for decades." The doors began closing. Trump stepped inside. Just as Monroe turned and fired the first shot. As the doors shut, the last thing Trump saw was Monroe taking aim at the assassins. Then, darkness. The elevator descended deeper than any structure in the White House. Trump exhaled, trying to steady his pulse. Then, a metallic voice echoed inside the chamber. "Welcome, Mr. President. You've reached the vault." The doors slid open, and what he saw inside would change history forever. The elevator doors slid open with a sharp hiss, revealing a vast underground chamber that Donald Trump could never have imagined. As he stepped out, the air felt colder, the metallic walls towering above him as flickering blue-white lights cast a stark glow on the room. It hummed with the low vibration of servers working tirelessly in the background, each machine processing what seemed like an endless stream of data. At the center of the room, one object stood out, a massive, reinforced steel vault. It was taller than any man, its surface covered with intricate security locks and biometric scanners that glowed ominously in the dim light. "Welcome, Mr. President. This is the vault." A deep, automated voice echoed through the space. Trump froze. The vault? The place where, according to General Monroe, the truth about the real rulers of America was hidden. His heart pounded as he approached, and a face scan verified his identity with a soft beep. "Identity confirmed. Donald J. Trump. Access granted." With a heavy hiss, the vault's doors slowly began to open, revealing a room unlike any he had seen. Rows upon rows of classified files lined the walls, each one more secretive than the last. Files dating back decades, filled with intelligence briefings, hidden orders, and sealed communications from every major administration. He scanned the room, and his name seemed to be everywhere. Operation Stabilization, Donald J. Trump. Allocation Containment. Initiated. Trump's pulse quickened. They had been monitoring him from the start, not controlling but managing him as if he were just another variable in their grand design. His eyes landed on a singular black folder that stood out from the rest. No markings, no labels, just one cryptic line of text. Red X, Project Silent Hand. His hands trembled as he flipped the folder open, revealing detailed contingency plans. Every president in modern history had a termination order ready in case they ever stepped out of line. Kennedy's was marked complete. Nixon's was neutralized. Reagan's read attempted. But at the bottom of the list was his name, Donald J. Trump. Settlement. His breath caught in his throat. They had planned to remove him from the moment he won, and what chilled him further was the realization that the order had already been signed, not by some rogue agent, but by a council that had ruled from the shadows for decades. "Who the hell are they?" he whispered. The response came from the shadows. "We are the ones who run the world, Mr. President." Trump spun around to face the man standing in the doorway. A man he never expected to see. Lawrence Greer, a name unknown to the American people but feared by every president. A Wall Street kingmaker, a CIA asset, a man with direct ties to the Federal Reserve, big tech, and every major intelligence operation in modern history. "You were never supposed to see this, Mr. Trump," Greer said, his cold, calculating gray eyes locking with Trump's. Trump narrowed his eyes. "That's funny, because I don't remember putting you in charge of this country." Greer smiled. Because you never were, sir. As the tension between them thickened, Greer gestured toward the folder in Trump's hand. That's what you came for, isn't it? The truth? Well, now you have it. So the real question is, what are you going to do with it? Trump's grip tightened on the folder. For years, he had fought against corrupt politicians, the media, and the establishment. But this was bigger than all of it. His anger flared as he stepped closer to Greer. You planned to kill me? Trump growled. Greer sighed. Not kill, remove. Trump took another step forward. That's the same damn thing. Greer didn't deny it. Instead, he walked over to a sleek control panel on the wall and tapped a button. A massive screen flickered to life, displaying real-time surveillance footage from across the world. The White House, the Pentagon, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, and government buildings from every corner of the globe. You see, Mr. President, we don't control elections. We control outcomes, Greer said, his voice calm but chilling. Trump's stomach twisted as Greer continued. Every war, every financial crisis, every rise and fall of leaders, it all goes through us. Then Greer folded his hands, eyes locked on Trump. Now, you have a choice. You can walk away, live your life, and this all disappears. Or you can try to fight us. But understand this, Mr. Trump. Every president who has tried has lost. Trump exhaled slowly. The weight of the entire world seemed to press down on him. But then, to Greer's surprise, Trump smiled. Greer's eyes narrowed. Something funny, sir? Trump held up a flash drive he had quietly pulled from the vault servers. You just gave me everything I need to destroy you. Greer's expression darkened. The alarms blared. The vault's doors began locking down. You just made a very dangerous mistake, Mr. Trump. Roy, Greer hissed. But Trump didn't wait. He turned and sprinted toward the elevator, flash drive clutched in his fist. Now he had proof, and the fight to take back America had just begun. As the elevator doors closed, Greer's voice echoed behind him. You can't run from us, Mr. President. We are everywhere. Trump slammed the override switch, and as the doors shut, he whispered under his breath, We'll see about that. The elevator rocketed upward. Donald Trump gripped the flash drive in his palm, his mind racing. Behind him, deep within the vault, Lawrence Greer had promised him one thing. You can't run from us, Mr. President. We are everywhere. Trump clenched his jaw. We'll see about that. He had the proof, the files, the truth that could destroy the secret government running America. But now, he had to escape alive. As the elevator climbed, a new sound filled the shaft. A beeping noise. Trump's eyes narrowed. Self-destruct sequence initiated. His stomach dropped. They were trying to bury the evidence, and him with it. Boom! A tremor rattled through the elevator as explosions rocked the underground facility. Trump braced himself against the wall as the lift lurched violently. He checked the panel. 30 floors to go. He exhaled sharply. Come on, move faster! Another explosion erupted below, and then the elevator came to a dead stop. The control panel flickered, then went black. Trump swallowed hard. Well, that's not good. The steel doors remained shut. He was trapped. He had two choices. Stay put and wait for the system to reboot, if it ever did, or force his way out before the next explosion buried him alive. Trump chose option 2. His eyes scanned the small escape panel above. All right, time to do it the old-fashioned way. Using all his strength, he pushed up on the panel until it popped open. The shaft above him stretched endlessly, dimly lit by emergency lights. Trump pulled himself up, gripping the metal bars inside. One wrong move, and he'd drop 30 floors to his death. No pressure. As he climbed, a blast from below sent flames shooting up the shaft. The heat scorched his back, but he kept moving. Up ahead, a service ladder led to an emergency hatch. Almost there. Then, a gunshot rang out above him. Trump froze. A black-clad operative peered down from the top of the shaft, rifle aimed directly at him. For a split second, Trump's mind flashed back to every ambush, every betrayal, every moment they tried to silence him. Not today. As the operative fired, Trump swung to the side, narrowly dodging the bullet. He grabbed a wrench from the emergency ladder and threw it as hard as he could. Crack! The wrench slammed into the operative's face, sending him plummeting down the shaft. That's what I call a negotiation. Trump pulled himself up the last few feet, forcing open the hatch. He had made it. But as he crawled onto the White House's upper maintenance floor, he realized the entire building was under lockdown, and waiting for him at the exit was an entire strike team. He didn't even have time to raise his hands. Flashlights blinded him. "Stand down, Mr. President!" Trump shielded his eyes, adjusting to the sight of at least 10 armed men surrounding him. One of them stepped forward, and Trump immediately recognized him. Vice President Martin Reynolds, the man who had stood beside him for years, the man he had trusted. Trump's jaw tightened. "So, you're in on this too," Reynolds sighed. "Mr. Trump, let's not do this here." He motioned for the operatives to lower their weapons. Then he turned back to Trump. "You have the flash drive, don't you?" Trump didn't answer. Reynolds continued, his voice eerily calm. "You're playing a dangerous game, sir. You have no idea how deep this goes." Trump squared his shoulders. "Oh, I think I do." Reynolds took a step closer. "Then you know, there's no winning this fight. The system is bigger than you." Trump exhaled. "Then why are you here?" Reynolds paused. Then, to Trump's shock, he said, "Because I don't want to see you killed." A silence hung between them. Then, Reynolds reached into his pocket and pulled out a burner phone. He handed it to Trump. "There's only one number in there. Call it if you want to survive the next 24 hours. Trump hesitated. "And if I don't?" Reynolds sighed, his face tired, almost sad. "Then I can't protect you." Trump stared at the burner phone in his hand. He had two options: call the number, see where it led, or expose the truth his own way. He looked up at Reynolds. "Why are you doing this?" Reynolds met his gaze. "Because, sir, I used to believe in the system too." Then he nodded to his men, and just like that, the strike team turned and left, disappearing into the shadows. Tron stood there, phone in one hand, flash drive in the other, and for the first time since this all began, he realized just how alone he really was. He looked down at the phone, and after a long moment, he dialed the number. The line rang once, twice, then a calm, familiar voice answered. "Mr. President, we've been expecting your call." Trump's chest tightened. Whoever was on the other end of this call, they were the key to everything. His next move could either save the country or seal his fate forever. "Who are you?" Trump asked. The voice on the other end chuckled. "We're the ones who decide what happens next." Donald Trump gripped the burner phone, his knuckles white. The voice on the other end was calm, confident, too confident. "Mr. President, we've been expecting your call." Trump gritted his teeth. "I have the files. The whole world's going to know what you people have done." A short silence followed by a chuckle. "No, Mr. Trump. The world will only know what we allow them to know." Trump's stomach twisted. They weren't worried, not one bit, because they still thought they were in control. They were wrong. "I don't take orders from anyone," Trump growled. "Not you, not your deep state goons, not anyone." Another pause. Then, the voice on the phone said something that made Trump's blood run cold. "Then why do you think you're still alive?" The words hung in the air like a noose tightening around Trump's neck. He swallowed hard, forcing himself to stay calm, calculating. He had spent his entire presidency fighting the establishment, but now he wasn't just fighting politicians, he was fighting the people who controlled them. "You've already lost, Mr. President." the voice continued. You just haven't realized it yet. Trump glanced at the flash drive in his hand, the one containing all the classified files from the vault. He had the proof, the evidence that could bring the whole system crashing down. But what if they were right? What if they had already planned for this? Here's the thing about power, Mr. Trump, the voice continued as if reading his mind. It isn't about who's right. It's about who controls the narrative. A cold chill ran down Trump's spine, and then, before he could respond, beep, 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 a warning alert flashed on the burner phone screen. Mobile tracking detected. His heart pounded. They weren't just talking to him, they were tracking him. Right now. Goodbye, Mr. President. Click. The line went dead, and that's when Trump heard it, the sound of helicopters approaching fast. Spotlights cut through the night sky. Trump spun around, his instincts screaming. Black SUVs screeched to a stop outside Mar-a-Lago, doors flying open. Armed agents in unmarked uniforms poured out. Lock down the estate! Secure the perimeter! This wasn't the Secret Service. This wasn't the FBI. This was something else, something darker. Trump moved fast, shoving the flash drive into his jacket pocket. No way in hell was he letting them take it. He sprinted down the hall toward a side exit, but before he could reach it, freeze! Mr. Trump. A red laser dot appeared on his chest. He stopped dead in his tracks. At least a dozen armed operatives had him surrounded. The leader stepped forward, his weapon trained on Trump's heart. Hand over the drive, sir. Now. Trump's mind raced. He had one move left. Slowly, he reached into his jacket pocket. But instead of pulling out the drive, he pulled out the burner phone, and with one final smirk, he smashed it against the floor. Boom! A small explosive charge detonated, flooding the room with blinding white light. The operative stumbled back, momentarily disoriented, and that was all Trump needed. He turned and ran, straight toward the hidden tunnel beneath Mar-a-Lago. Because he had one last card to play. 30 minutes later, Trump sat inside a secure underground safe house, staring into a live streaming camera. He adjusted his red tie, took a breath, and hit Go Live. The screen flickered. Then, his face filled every major news channel in America. My fellow Americans, what I'm about to tell you will change everything you thought you knew about this country. Millions of people stopped what they were doing. Phones buzzed, TVs blared, and as Trump spoke, the truth was finally unleashed. For years, there has been a hidden government operating inside the United States. A government that controls elections, economies, wars, even the lives of presidents. They tried to erase me, but I have the proof, and now I'm giving it to you. Trump reached into his jacket and held up the flash drive. This is the evidence they never wanted you to see, and I'm making sure the world gets it. The screen flickered, and suddenly classified documents began uploading live for the entire world to see. Thousands of files, secret government plans, assassination plots, evidence of corruption at the highest levels. No more secrets, no more lies. America deserves the truth. And then, the screen cut to black. The world erupted into chaos. Millions of Americans woke up to a truth they were never meant to know. The government scrambled to regain control, but it was too late. Because Trump had done the impossible. He had exposed the greatest secret in American history, and now there was no turning back. Inside a dark boardroom deep within Washington sat in silence, their faces grim, their eyes calculating. Finally, one of them spoke. The files are out. The damage is done. A pause, then another voice. Then we have no choice. We have to eliminate him once and for all. The gray-eyed man from the vault leaned forward. Activate Project Red Hand. Hunt him down. Make sure Donald Trump never speaks again. Trump sat in his safe house, watching the world react to the truth. He exhaled. He had won this battle, but the war? It was just beginning. He looked into the camera one last time, and with a smirk he said, "You wanted the truth? Well, now you've got it." The